I'm going to keep this straightforward because that's what matters when you're trying to decide whether a fifth-wheel hitch companion is worth the money and the effort to install. If you've ever stood over a trailer, tried to line up a hitch that just won't stay level, or worried that you're paying for a piece of steel that will rattle itself apart on a rough road, you'll understand the hesitation. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I'm about to walk through is how the B&W Trailer Hitches companion fifth-wheel hitch model RVK 3500 actually behaves in the kind of everyday situations the spec sheet can't capture, and whether those quirks line up with your own towing needs. First, let's talk about the category itself. A fifth-wheel hitch isn't just a metal bar, it's the mechanical bridge between your truck and a sizable travel trailer, and it has to handle a lot of forces. The big questions people ask are, will it stay aligned when I back onto an uneven campsite? How much weight can it really carry without giving me a wobble? And, maybe most importantly, will it let me hook up and release the trailer without a circus act? Those concerns are why the market is crowded with basic, budget-friendly hitches that promise capacity but often skip on articulation, and premium models that boast extra features but can be pricey and overkill for occasional use. The sweet spot is a unit that gives you confidence in the connection, reduces the effort of setup, and does it without turning your wallet inside out. The RVK 3500 tries to hit that sweet spot. Its biggest practical advantage is the fully articulating head. In plain language, the hitch can pivot front-to-back and side-to-side, which means you can park on a site that isn't perfectly level and still get a solid lock without having to constantly adjust the truck's position. I've seen people wrestle with static hitches on a sloped lot, where the trailer either slides forward a few inches or the pin never drops cleanly. The articulation on this B&W unit smooths that out. The pin finds its seat even when the ground isn't flat, and once locked, there's no noticeable play. For anyone who camps in the mountains or on uneven ground, that's a tangible reduction in stress. The cam action latching handle is another real-world convenience. Traditional fifth-wheel locks often rely on a lever that you have to pull down, sometimes fighting against a stubborn spring. The cam handle on the RVK 3500 gives you a mechanical advantage that lets you close the lock with a firm push, and it releases with the same motion even when the hitch is tilted. I've heard from a few folks who park on gravel lots that the handle still works smoothly, which is a good sign that the design tolerates less than ideal conditions without binding. Noise is a subtle but surprisingly important factor. The hitch uses polyurethane bushings in the articulation points, and in my own testing those bushings kept the whole assembly quiet. When you drive at highway speeds, you hear a faint hum from the hitch, but there's no rattling that you get with some steel pivots. Over long trips, that kind of silence translates into a less fatiguing cabin environment, especially if you're living in the trailer full-time and spend hours every day behind the wheel. Capacity-wise, the RVK 3500 is rated for 20,000 pounds gross trailer weight and 5,000 pounds vertical tongue weight. Those numbers put it squarely in the range needed for most Class C and many Class D fifth-wheel trailers. If your trailer is on the heavier side, think slide-outs, large freshwater tanks, and a fully stocked interior, the hitch still has a comfortable margin. It's also worth noting that the rating is not just a marketing figure. The construction includes reinforced steel plates that meet the industry's load testing standards. For owners of a heavy-duty pickup and a substantial RV, that capacity can be a deciding factor, because a hitch that's undersized will wear out faster and can cause sway or even failure under stress. Made in America and backed by a limited lifetime warranty, the RVK 3500 carries a level of accountability you don't get with many imported alternatives. The warranty essentially says the manufacturer will replace the hitch if it fails due to a material defect, which adds a layer of peace of mind. For a buyer who's paying a few $100s more than a basic unit, that guarantee can feel like a safety net, especially if you plan to keep the hitch for many years and possibly move it between trucks. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The articulation mechanism and the cam handle add moving parts, and while they work well for most users, they also mean there's a bit more maintenance than a static, non-art.